What is up, everyone? Some of you have been speculating that for the past few weeks, I may have been hiding something. And well, if you were one of those people, you would have been correct. I have had the chance to review the most powerful headset I have ever used. And I don't think I can ever go back. This is the Pimax 8KX from Pimax. And this thing is not a joke. If you know Pimax headsets, you know that these things sport resolutions and FOV that no other headset can give you. These are the big boys. But are they truly worth it? Well, I have been using the Pimax 8KX for the past 2 weeks for gaming, productivity, and Discord. Yeah, that's a category now. And as you guys on the Discord will know, this thing is my main now, and I cannot move away from it. Now, disclaimer, Pimax did send this over for review. Yes, this is a review headset. However, I liked it so much that I contacted them to tell them that I want to pay for this because I'm keeping it. So now this thing is 100% mine, and I love it. So now with that out of the way, let's move into the review. Now this review will be split up into parts and sections for your guys' comfort. So you can switch through the chapters, as you normally would, to find the part that most interests you. First thing we're going to jump into is build materials and build quality in general. The overall material here is plastic, but don't let that fool you. The Pimax 8KX is part of Pimax's new Vision lineup of headsets. These headsets have been upgraded with a new material and special damage-resilient coating. That is, if you're reading straight off their website. In reality, yeah, that's true. When you touch the headset, you can feel an almost rubber-like coating covering it. And while I can't talk about hardcore falls or running into walls, my one has taken quite a few hits. This thing is pretty big, and it takes quite a while to get used to, especially since it sticks out of your head that much. My controllers have made contact with it a few times. It seems to have no visible damage, so that coating does seem to be doing its job pretty damn well. The headset feels very nice in the hand and is a little bit heavy at first, coming in at 1.78 pounds or 810 grams with the head strap. However, this is only in the hand, since as we will talk about later, it bounces insanely well on the head. The inside around the lenses also has this kind of fabric that the Quest 1 had that I was never really a huge fan of, but the lenses are so huge and take up so much of the inside of the headset that you really won't be seeing it much. Now, people that stay in VR a lot know how important a good head strap is. If the head strap is bad, it won't balance the headset on your head properly and might even cause discomfort over prolonged use, by pushing the headset down in the front. I am very happy to say that the Pimax 8KX comes with Pimax's new KDMAS head strap, also known as their modular audio strap. And while this head strap is built from plastic, which is actually quite thin on the side, it is very, very sturdy and does not feel like it's going to snap, unlike the Elite head strap. The KDMAS is also incredibly comfortable. When I first saw the headset, I actually had my doubts. It's pretty big. Is it going to be comfortable, or is it just going to weigh me down on the front? Well, I'm happy to say, the second I tried this head strap on, all my doubts went away. It bounces the headset really nicely on your head, and I could wear it for hours on end. Just ask the Discord. It also has this really nice padding on the back that you can actually completely take off and wash or replace, and I totally approve of VR hygiene. Now let's talk about the face pad, because as we all know, the face pad is also pretty damn important when it comes to comfort. After all, it's the thing that sits directly on top of your face. And I am happy to say that the face pads coming with the Pimax 8KX are really damn comfortable and really soft. But they do have one pretty big negative. They soak in sweat quite a bit. And yeah, it's pretty damn noticeable. However, thankfully, it does come with two of these, a thinner face pad and a thicker face pad. I personally have been using the thicker one, and it is extremely, extremely comfortable, seriously, guys. And not only that, but it has like these slidey things here on the side for your glasses to go in. Now, as I explain later, I don't use glasses with this just because I'm scared, but it does come with two, and they're both pretty nice. And this being Pimax's new comfort kit, it also comes with a nose guard, completely blocking the light from coming into the headset. This works really, really well and is very comfortable. Not annoying on the nose at all, unlike some of the others I have tried in the past. Okay, now that we have build quality and comfort out of the way and, everything on the outside, let's hop straight into the inside and the specs, because let's be real, that's what you're all here for. That's what Pimax is known for, making completely overkill headsets. Looking at the lenses, you can instantly tell something is off. They're huge. Well, that's because this thing is rocking an FOV of 200 degrees. compare that to the FOV of the Oculus Quest 2, which is 90 degrees, or the Index, which is 130 degrees, or even a human at around 220 degrees. Damn, those things really need an upgrade. So there's no hiding the fact that Pimax have hit the nail on the head when it comes to FOV, and I will tell you more about how that feels in-game later on. Don't worry though, this is not where the craziness ends. After all, this is the Pimax 8KX. Does that mean it's 8K? Well, not really. It has two 4K panels inside, but of course, as we know, 4K plus 4K does not equal 8K. But hey, that's marketing for you. Does that change the fact that it's the most beautiful display I have ever used? Absolutely not. I am not exaggerating saying I can personally comfortably use this headset without wearing glasses or prescription lenses and still see much better than any other headset I have ever used. Now, please do keep in mind, my prescription might be like much lower than yours, so things may vary here, but I am not exaggerating when I say that. In fact, that's mostly what I've been doing. Since the lenses in this thing are so huge, well, good luck trying to put prescription lenses on it. And I have had enough glasses to lenses scratching horror stories to not try that again. The face pad that you get with it does actually have little indents for glasses wearers. It's almost like it's supposed to go in there. I don't know, I'm just paranoid. However, this is where things start getting interesting, because we are moving into refresh rate territory, and the headset is marked as supporting up to 90 Hz on their official English website. However, that's really selling it short, because if you hop onto their Chinese website, or just fire up PyTool, you'll notice that if you switch into upscaling mode, you get up to 114 Hz. Yeah, this is where things start getting a little bit interesting, because at the max resolution of the headset, 4K per eye, you can only run it at 75 Hz. I know, not ideal, but hear me out. Switching over to upscaling mode, which runs the headset at 2560 by 1440 per eye, you get that sweet 114 Hz, while getting to keep your extremely high FOV. I personally use the 75 Hz option when playing games like Half-Life Alyx, where I don't mind the refresh rate of the headset being lower, but would love that extra resolution, because you know, the game is absolutely beautiful. And then when playing games like Beat Saber, where the extra refresh rate really matters, that's when I switch over to upscaling mode. And sometimes I even use the higher refresh rate in VR chat, because VR chat isn't always the most graphically demanding game, and having smoothness in it does sometimes add a little bit of a punch. Now, talking a little bit about what you get physically on the headset itself. You get two Type-C ports, one at the bottom and one sort of kind of hidden behind the faceplate up at the tippity top, which is pretty damn cool. Having two USB Type-C ports is definitely better than having one. And you also get three buttons, which I actually totally didn't expect. One is a button to power the headset on and off, and the other two are volume buttons to bring the volume up or bring the volume down. These actually come in quite a bit more handy than I would have expected them to. Okay, but this is the Pimax 8KX with the KDMAS headstrap and headphones, so we can't forget about the headphones. They're a huge part of this headset for me, because my very first headset was the CV1, and I absolutely applauded those headphones. I loved them. I wasn't required to purchase an extra pair of headphones and have those over my head at all times. Plus, headphones are always just an extra thing you need to put on while putting on your headset. It's one of the reasons people love modding the Oculus Quests with the deluxe audio strap. The KDMAS is no different. I absolutely love the audio coming out of these headphones. The headphones don't lean on my ears, they gently touch them or even maybe levitate above them, making the sound coming out of them still extremely nice and very rich, while also allowing my ears not to sweat, and everyone else I allowed to try it had the same experience. Maybe we've just been spoiled after trying this, comparing it to the built-in audio on the Quest 2. But it is a massive, massive upgrade. Now, the microphone. When I joined on a Discord call for the first time with this thing and asked you guys what you thought about the microphone I was using, you guys told me it was this one. So either I need an upgrade or the microphone on that thing is really, really good. Here's a listen. So here is a test of the Pimax 8KX microphone. This is the microphone that comes with the headset and it's built in, and you know what? I think it sounds pretty great. I won't lie to you. This thing is definitely better than most of the VR headsets microphones that I have tried. Okay, Now, of course, to power a huge monster like this, you are going to require quite a beefy PC. Now, my PC is running an AMD Ryzen 5 3600X. While it is heavily overclocked to 4.33 GHz on all cores, it does really well with this headset. I'm also running 32 GB of RAM clocked at 3200 MHz and an RX 5700 XT, which is also overclocked. I really think my system is not the best one to test here, considering it is heavily overclocked, but you can kind of compare it against that. Now, my biggest issue with this, surprisingly, wasn't my specs, but the amount of USB ports I needed. I'm actually running out of USB ports, and this thing, you require 2 USB ports to power and a display port. Yeah, I just ended up unplugging a few things, but that was my main issue, surprisingly. I've had zero issue running this thing and powering it and playing my games perfectly comfortably. Half-Life Alyx, perfectly comfortable. Beat Saber, beautiful. VR Chat, amazing. And those are the games I've played the most. And while I did try a few others, like Gorn, for example, the extra FOV really adds to any game you'll be able to play. It really adds to the sides. Okay, but for a headset, another very important thing that is needed is good tracking. How is this thing tracked? Well, it's tracked using base stations. So I've got 2 base stations, one up there and one up there, and it is fully compatible with index controllers. So a few of you, actually, that's how you found out that I was hiding something, because I got index controllers and they were like, oh, why did he get index controllers? Well, now you know. So this thing, of course, tracking is flawless. It's amazing. It's absolutely fantastic. And while the tracking is amazing, and I had no issues with it at all, my play space is kind of small. And some people are saying that the wire you get on this is not long enough for their play space. So the length of this wire is actually... And while Pimax does sell an extra optical cable for you to get an extension, it's not exactly the cheapest. And, you know, after buying a headset for this price, you kind of don't want to be spending more for an optical extension cable. But hey, look, for me on this tiny play space, it's actually perfectly fine. And I think for most people, it would be perfectly fine. Now, on the topic of price, I hope you didn't expect this headset to be cheap, because the headset itself will set you back €1,299, and that is just the headset, not the bundle. In case you want the headset with the Knuckles controllers and 2 base station 2.0s, that will set you back €1,896. And if you want to add the headphones to that, because they don't actually come with the headset, that's €1,945. So I think it's fair to say that this thing isn't cheap, and if you're buying this, you're pretty much dedicating your life to live inside VR. However, if you don't want to pay for the headphones, the headset does actually have a 3.5mm audio jack, so you can always just use your own. Now, let's talk about the software, because while the software is something that I just kind of turn on in the background and forget about it, it is something you absolutely need to turn on. PyTool, which is the name of the software, needs to be on at all times, or else the headset won't work. But you will also use the software to change between resolutions, FOV sizes, and refresh rates. So, I mean, it's nice when it works, right? And it does work. It's been very consistent throughout my 2 weeks of testing, and let's just remember, I've been playing this thing pretty much every day. Not once has it failed or disconnected anything. You will also use the software for room setup and pairing devices to the headset, because yeah, you don't need dongles to pair anything. The dongles are built into the headset, so let's say you have any Vive trackers or the index controllers, they all pair directly to the headset, and to pair them, you use PyTool. The software isn't exactly looking like it's extremely polished, but it works, and that's what matters, at least to me. Once again, you can use it to change some settings about your headset, including IPD refresh rate and FOV sizes, or switching between the 4K per eye or upscaling mode. You can also turn on and off the light bar and switch between 9-axis tracking or lighthouse tracking. So it has its fair share of options, and while, again, it doesn't look like it's the most polished, it works, and it is just kind of something that you set and forget about while you game. Okay, so now let's move on to what I actually think about using it, and my experience for the past 2 weeks has been nothing short of amazing. I mean, just the fact that I ended up paying for this headset and buying it from Pimax should be enough to tell you that I absolutely loved it. It wasn't a cheap expense, but after trying this and not using my Quest 2 for those 2 weeks until I needed to make a video about it, it kind of felt like looking through a box. Imagine you're playing VR chat. All of a sudden, your view goes from being like this to being like this. You can see everything around you, and you can see people that you wouldn't normally be able to see on the side. It's an extra layer of immersion that you don't really realize you need until you try it. And when Axe flew over from France to Ireland a few months back and tried the Oculus Quest 2, he complained a lot about the FOV, and I didn't really know what he was talking about because I really only ever had Oculus headsets, so I never really got to try an FOV that was so much higher. And now I understand. Playing Beat Saber, you can somehow see notes more to your side than you would ever be able to see. And as I said in the past, I was able to complete songs on this that I would have never been able to complete on the Quest 2. But as people said, that's because of the tracking and not really the FOV. Playing games like Gorn, again, you can see people coming at you from the sides that you wouldn't be able to see. The FOV, of course, being this thing's biggest positive, and the resolution being an add-on. Why am I calling it an add-on? Because we have high resolutions on headsets now, and while, yeah, sure, it does make the games absolutely beautiful, most games in VR don't really take full advantage of that resolution. We are not at the point yet where I think we have realistic enough games to be driving an 8K resolution in a headset. Like, I don't think it's really needed. For example, in VR chat, most of the characters, most of the worlds are going to be cartoony. And while the resolution, yes, does make it beautiful, does make it pop, and is fantastic, you're really going to get the same experience visually with a lower resolution and a higher refresh rate, which is why I sometimes hop into VR chat with that higher refresh rate. On games like Half-Life Alyx, absolutely. That resolution is going to be beautiful, is going to be fantastic, and is going to absolutely change the way you play. And I know that because my dad, I asked my dad whether he wanted to try the headset, and he said yes. He's never really been a real believer of VR. Every time he's tried the Quest 2, he's only really played like golf or tried a bit of Beat Saber, but was never really a huge fan of it. When he came up here and when he played Half-Life Alyx on this thing, I needed to stop him after a while because he would just continue going and it was getting very, very late. It's fair to say that this headset has turned some of the people in my family, including my dad and my brother, into somewhat of believers in some form of VR. My mom was already sort of a believer in VR. We play Beat Saber together, we play multiple games together, but this has been and will be my main. Now, that doesn't mean it doesn't have its downsides, and that's what I want to move into now, because yes, it has positives and it has changed the way I play VR, but its downsides also exist. And surprisingly, its largest downside is also its largest upside, the FOV. Because the lenses are so huge and because the FOV is so wide, you're going to get distortion in your peripheral vision. Now, this seems to be a huge thing for a lot of people, so it is worth mentioning. On a headset with a wide FOV such as this, yes, it is going to be more visible because, I mean, come on, you saw the lenses. But for some people, including myself, it's actually not that big of a deal. Why? Because what I have found is while playing on this thing for really long times, and I mean really long times, like 3 to 4 hours, non-stop, I forget after about 30 minutes. 30 minutes of playing, sometimes 15 minutes of playing, I completely forget about it. Beat Saber especially, I don't even care about it there. Games where it's more graphically demanding and you will kind of be moving your eye around a little bit more. You will notice it, but you forget about it. Or at least that is me. I know some people will not forget about it and it will bug them constantly that that is there. So it is worth mentioning. It is there, it's definitely there. It is definitely much larger than it would be on, for example, a Quest 2, but that's what you get. That peripheral vision, yes, it is going to have distortion, but at least it's there. And the fact that it is there, and since you're not really focusing on it, it's like it's there, but you're not focusing on it, so it doesn't matter if it's blurry, if you kind of get what I mean. Like, for example, right here, from here on out, my vision could be blurry, and I wouldn't really care because I'm looking at the camera, and that's what I'm focusing on. So it kind of depends how you play your games and if you really care about that much. Now, another downside that is definitely going to matter for a lot of people is the IPD. According to Pimax, the sweet spot of the IPD on this headset is about 55 to 75, and thankfully, this seems to be the perfect sweet spot for me, as I have the sharpest and most clarified visuals I have ever seen. They're just beautiful. However, it is also important to note here that you do actually get software IPD adjustments. It's just, you know, those are never going to be as good as hardware IPD adjustments. Another huge downside, and I fully understand that this is just me being picky right now, is the wire. When my mom first saw this headset, her reaction was, "Oh wow, it has a wire? Who even wants those nowadays?" And I was like, "Yeah, I know, but just try it." And of course, we all know what happened later on. But the wire is annoying. It's very annoying. And while I do have pulley systems, I didn't actually attach it to them yet because it's so big I have nowhere to store it. So it's just kind of, every time I stop using it, I put it under my bed and it waits there till the next day. But now I'm going to mount it and hopefully find some place to store it. So the pulley system will definitely help with the wire. And I do understand that wireless is not ideal for everyone. People prefer wires when you're doing professional VR gaming, and I know why. It is so much more reliable than wireless. There's zero hitches. Of course, that depends also as to how powerful your PC is. Talking about how powerful your PC is, as I said earlier, you will require a powerful PC to drive this. And while I'm not going to throw any FPS tests or anything like that into this video, because I feel like making a whole separate video on that, if you guys want it, would be a much better idea, because I would then bring my PC back down to factory stock settings instead of it being overclocked to have much more accurate readings for you guys. While that is going to take a while and it is going to be a bit of work for me, I will do it for you guys if you want those FPS tests. So I would like you guys to tell me which games you want tested at which resolutions, and I will do that for you in another video. All I can tell you for now is that I have had no issues playing on this thing at all on my machine. I've played, again, Half-Life Alyx. I've sat in Discord with you guys while playing Beat Saber as well at the same time. I've played VR chat, no problem. Gorn, no problem. The Forest, mwah, beautiful. Oh my god, that game at 8K is, oh, it's like it was sent down from the heavens to me. I love that thing. So, is this headset for you? Well, that's really hard to say, because of its pretty insane price point and damn good specs. This thing is going to be aimed at the highest possible virtual reality enthusiast. This headset offers things that no other headset offers at its price point. 4K per eye, 200 degrees FOV, 114 Hz in upscaling mode. And if you're hearing this right now and you're thinking to yourself, damn, that sounds amazing, and you have that kind of money to spare, and you spend pretty much most of your time in VR, this might just be the headset for you. This is the top of the line. And once again, while it is a lot of money, I know some people would be completely willing to spend that for an incredible virtual reality experience. And while the build quality here may not be Index or even Oculus level, it is fantastic, and from what I have heard in the past, Pimax has had a mixed reputation, and it seems that they are trying to build upon that, and they are doing very, very well. This headset has proved to me that their build quality is very, very good. It just may not look like it when you first pick it up. And if you have any issues, I've also heard that Pimax customer service does not have the best track record. And while they've been incredible to me and answered pretty much all of my messages within 24 hours, I cannot speak for anyone else. So just do keep that in mind. But I think that is going to be it for my review. I went on a bit of a long ramble here at the end, but that is because I feel like in a review like this, it's very hard to convey what it actually feels like to put one of these things on. I guess for you guys to know, you'd have to come on over here and give it a try yourself. That sounds kind of weird. It's really, really difficult. Maybe if I ever buy a studio, I'll just start inviting people, be like, hey, you want to check out this Pimax? Yeah, come on in. It's very, very amazing, and I love it. And that's all I can say. If you guys have any questions at all about this, I will make another video on this if people need it, because I know I tend to miss things in videos, things that people may or may not have wanted to see. I just really don't like dragging videos out too far. So please let me know if I missed anything, if there's something you really want to know, and what games you want tested. And we are going to leave that here for today. I hope this kind of gave you my impressions on it, what I think about it, and the specs. And yeah, I hope I didn't miss too many things, because I know I definitely missed some things. And that is going to be it for today's video. Thank you all so much for joining me today. I hope you all have a fantastic day or night. And if you guys are not yet part of our community, make sure to join our Discord down below. Make sure to join our Reddit, where I want to see you posting your spicy memes. And if you guys would like to support the channel any way, shape, or form, we've got sick mugs down below and merch that doesn't put a huge ad on your body, so check out mysticalstore.com. And if you guys want to be notified of extra content coming up on the channel, make sure to smack the subscribe button with your forehead, dig my bell, and see you in the next video. Peace.